crack fiends and crime.
All I know,
I see needles, crack pipes, and guns all the time.
all I know,
Task force, SWAT teams, and security guards.
all I know.
The ambulance is late, but death is on time. From east to west, we about to blow up. North to south, feel me, we about to blow.
What's going on, Toronto? I'm here with Old Sound Lee, one of the biggest R&B artists in our city. Seriously.
What's going on, peoples?
This week I just wanted to bring you into his life and what's going on in his world. What's your connection to Cataraqui?
Okay, well, I grew up in the West End, right? Like Chalk Farm, Jenny Wilson, Baptist and Orange Jungle, but this was my sister and my stepmom's old house. So they've been here for like 20 plus years. So as a kid, I used to come around here pretty often, you know what I mean? Whether it be to just chill out with my family or whether we were picking her up to bring her back to the West. But I've seen many a days on Cataraqui, man, like since I was a kid, growing up, watching the youth them play around here. And this is the first time I've been back in like a couple years, and it's crazy because like everything looks pretty much the same, you know what I mean? It's nostalgic right about now, you know? Enough times I used to be right here and Dina's yelling at us.
Yeah.
Man, trust me, it's a good feeling.
So I grew up knowing you,
yeah,
but not actually knowing you. So when I saw you and you were like, oh, my mom's here,
you know,
in Cataraqui, I was able to say, okay, I can connect these dots.
Cataraqui's all the way out east in Scarborough, you know, and I grew up all the way out west. And the fact that two people who've never met, but their paths are still collided, you know,
right.
Like it's crazy. All I know. All right, cool. All I know. All I know.
So when you weren't here, you were in Chalk Farm or Jungle?
Yeah, basically.
So what was that experience like?
Well, I mean, when I was born in Chalk Farm, so and I stayed there till about 6 or 7, you know what I mean? And it's interesting when you live in like apartment buildings because you don't necessarily have the freedom to go outside and play the way most people do, you know what I mean? Like the rule of my house was, since the only way my dad could see me was off the balcony, we weren't allowed to go any further than where he could see. I used to try to sneak away, you know, when I'm bike riding because it wasn't fair. Like I had my brethren who could, you know, ride around the block and come back, not me. My dad was mad strict, so I mean, I'm thankful for it. You know, it taught me discipline, but it definitely taught me how to be aware. See what I mean? Because anything was possible around those areas. I grew up in, they don't have the best reputations, but I'm not gonna act like I grew up in horrible circumstances either, because I had parents who knew how to discipline their kids. So when my friends were out getting into trouble and stuff like that, that was never a problem of mine, you know?
They raise my rent, so I'm better off taking that government check, cause this is all I know. Pimps, prostitutes, crack fiends, and crime. I see needles, crack pipes, and guns all the time. Task force, SWAT teams, and security guards. The ambulance is late, but death is on time.
What were some of the challenges you faced?
Growing up, I guess, honestly, the biggest challenge for me was, you know, my parents, man. They were mad strict. Because he was aware of like the environment we were in, he wouldn't allow us to just do anything. Like school ends at 3, you get straight home. I don't care what basketball club or nothing you have, like you come straight to your yard. Right, I mean? So that was the one thing that used to annoy me, but when I look back on it, I have to be like thankful because, you know, even today I'm 24 and a lot of the people that I used to play around with or grew up with, a lot of them are in jail now. Some of them died, you know what I mean? And these are guys that used to be at my house playing Sega Genesis and whatnot. So I'm thankful for the discipline, you know what I mean? It was needed, I guess you could say. It's real needed.
Check it. Grew up in this toilet bowl, which explains my attitude in this place called home. Can't speak about what I don't know. Can't give you what I don't own. Look around at what I got. 2 4, some rims, and the whips in the shop. All of us got bad credit, and it's overdraft every time we use debit. How did I get in this mess?
You managed to make it to university.
Yes, sir.
So, coming from Toronto Housing, they usually say like the stereotype is we don't get to post-secondary education.
Yeah.
How did that process work out for you?
Honestly, I don't even pay attention to that. You know, like when you come from areas like these, like it's all up to the individual to decide whether you're going to become a product of the environment or you're going to rise above it. You know, and there's a lot of people my age who came from the same places I come from who are doing a lot of good stuff for themselves, like including me. I'm in university right now for music. I'm pursuing my passion. So even when it didn't seem like a possibility to some, like I didn't listen to any of that. You know, I had family that supported me. I had a friend unit where we were all trying to do stuff. So trust me, it's really what you decide to do with it. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I just kept it moving.
How are you balancing music and the whole idea of academic work?
It's not easy. I'll tell you that. I mean, like both require time and dedication. You know what I mean? You got to put time towards doing your schoolwork because you got to pass. You feel that burden of you want to do it for yourself, but you also want to, you know, make your parents proud. But at the same time, to do music, you need to put time and dedication into that too, you know. So you were talking about the ballad at the very end where the beat drops. So I want to try something. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but I just wanted to try something. Yeah. See, I live for the women and the fame, yeah. It don't matter how I get it, I'm just trying to gain, yeah. See, I done been to the bottom and people don't give a damn. So I'm trying to live my life and that's all I know. That's all I know, yeah. I believe when you're really passionate about something, like you'll find a way to make provision for yourself. But at the same time, you kind of have to plan your steps accordingly. Whether or not I had a degree, I'd be doing music. But reality is, in this day, in this age, and in this society, having a piece of paper gets you a lot more respect and opens a lot more doors. It's a lot easier for me to go into studio spaces or, you know, school boards or anything else and have that degree to show them, Bachelor of Fine Arts in Jazz Vocal Performance, rather than just saying, hey, I can sing, you know, give me a chance, trust me, I'm sure you'll like it. So the main outlook for me is that the degree will get me the respect I need, it'll give me the credentials I need to kind of do what I'm already doing, but put me in a different field, like more corporate, you know. So that's the main idea for me. This is just some ad-libs, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All I know, yeah. All I know, yeah. Oh, all I know, yeah. Yeah. Whoa, yeah. The very first time that I actually sang was when I sat down to an episode of Fresh Prince. It was the it was
Intro?
yeah, it was, and it wasn't even the intro. It was the episode where Tevin Campbell sang for Ashley's birthday.
Okay.
So I sat there, I'm like 5 or 6 years old, and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, yo, I can do that. So I just opened my mouth and started singing. My mom peeled out the kitchen like, yeah, ow, that. And from then I just kept going. Like, I grew up in church, so I listened to a lot of gospel music, but outside of church I had a brother who was heavy in hip-hop. And as I got older, I started joining into choirs and, you know, singing backup for people. So I ended up surrounding myself with people who were probably like 8 or 9 years ahead of me, but they were more established in what they're doing. So I just sat back and, you know, played the student, just listened to them, took in their runs and their ad-libs, you know, their different styles and techniques, and I ended up just finding my way and making my own, you know.
You and I made a song together.
Yes, sir.
Called All I Know.
Yep.
Actually, it's the intro even for the show.
That's me.
Straight up. So, why did you choose to actually collaborate with me when people would say I'm not an A-list Toronto artist?
Honestly, like, I'm a person where I don't watch face like that. Like, I genuinely believe in getting to know artists one-on-one, and if me and you can vibe, then we can do something together. You know, I don't chase for status and fame, you see what I mean? I chase for people who are like-minded, because I feel like when you're in a studio setting or in any creative setting with people who understand you, that's when the best art comes out. It doesn't matter how much platinum plaques you have or how many radio singles. It doesn't really matter to me, because stuff like that can be attained. It's my first time in the studio, but it felt like a family vibe because Brian Notice was on the board and I knew who he was. Proverbs behind the camera. The vibe was nice, the track was nice, the content, everything was just natural. It was real natural. I really liked it. I mean, so first of many to come. Just be prepared because it's going to get serious.
How has the church influenced your singing career and just your life overall?
Well, in a major way. I grew up going to church, and even when I didn't want to go, you know, my mom used to drag me. But when I hit my teenage years, I started to like really read the Bible, really start to like get a knowledge of Christ for myself, and it really molded me as a person, you know, understanding the concept of love, of righteousness, and striving for it, you know. So it's no secret, I don't hide it. Like, I'm a firm believer in Christ. I'm a Christian. That's how I live my life. And even if you look at my lyrical content, I make sure that everything I write is integral, that it's edifying, and even if it's not full out gospel, it still comes across in a way where people can learn something, understand? So it molded the person I am, and that's the life I live.
A lot of people have difficulties going to church because of their issues with like people that attend church, not necessarily their issues with God.
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
Honestly, I wish I was able to like apologize on behalf of any hypocrite or any, you know, like negative Christian that people have faced growing up, because I'm sorry, there's just a lot of people who they're more concerned with culture than they are the spiritual aspect of it. Like, a lot of people, they know they're going through stuff themselves, and the easiest way for them to mask it is by putting other people down. So the attention is off of them and on you, you know what I mean? So I can't say I speak for everybody, but what I know is that I learned that Christ is love, and if people are acting in love, then we wouldn't have the problems that we have, you know. Like, you wouldn't see people feeling like they can't go to church because people are hypocrites, and there's hypocrites in and outside of church. Nobody's perfect, you know, and nobody should ever let you believe that they're perfect and you aren't, you know what I mean? So it's not about watching face, trust me. Just, you know, read your word, follow God, get to know him for yourself, and forget about everybody else. What can I say, you know?
Tell everybody in Toronto where they can find you and what's upcoming.
All right, well, 2 months ago I released my first mixtape, The Full Sound. You can find that online at osound.bandcamp.com.
Okay.
Add me to Twitter. I'm at Call Me Osound. Call Me Osound. All my downloadable link is there as well. My YouTube, Osound TV. Holler at me on Facebook, Osound. Like, that's my brand right now, so you can find me online.
Thank you for tuning in. All you young people want the fancy vehicles, and tell them, like, it's not even...
Listen, like, I mean, everybody, like, growing up, you know, even your parents or your pastors or anybody, they'll always tell you, you know, you can get that house, you can get that car, you can, you know, you can attain this, you can attain that, and listen, you can get whatever you want to get. You understand? It's not hard these days to go out and, you know, get a down payment for a house or whatnot. But what they don't teach you is like, yo, when you get to that bracket, there's a certain level of cost that you have to maintain. You understand? It's not just enough to go cop a Beamer. You understand? When you start realizing what the costs are to fill it, to get an oil change,
and you gotta use Supreme gas.
You have
so
to.
It's like,
no, you have to.
No, I loaned my. I went to the States. I swear, and I gave my vehicle to one of the youths on the block. No, it was one of the sisters.
Yeah.
So, and I said, can you just, you know, keep my vehicle for me?
Yeah.
She said that she dropped me to the GO station. Came back with the vehicle. It was parked up. The youth stole the key, and they must have went wherever in town and went to a club, whatever they did. I came back from New York and I went to look for my vehicle. My mom was like, the vehicle's not outside. I was like, what do you mean the vehicle's not outside? She's like, I saw it. The vehicle's not there. Then this was a couple of years ago. Then I made some phone calls and I told my boy, where's my whip? And he's like, he's on it. So they found my whip, got the key, then we started driving. This thing started jerking me. I was like, what happened to my Beamer? They put regular gas in my
that 87 gas. Oh, you can't do that.
This thing just spit it out.
You know what I mean? Oh my god. I found that out the hard way. Because my car's the same thing, 91 and up. And like, that's the concept that people don't realize. Yo, you can't chase after materialistic stuff. You know what I mean? Like, live within your means and strive for more. And when you get more, then you can move a little bit more up in society. Everybody's trying to like progress faster than they're capable of doing. Because just like you said, you get your Beamer, you're driving it, but yo, when you pull into the gas station, you're looking for the cheapest price. And you can't do that. Because ideally, if you own a car like that, you should be able to maintain it. You understand? Drive your Civic. Yeah. Drive your Accord. Yo,
fill up on what,
you know what I mean?
60 bucks?
The 60 bucks is what you do to do that. Drive your little neon.
$30 oil change.
Simple.
Go with the new vehicles.
This is what I'm saying?
The high-end vehicles. 130 for the stupid oil change.
You know what I mean? Oh my lord.
Crazy.
Like I see it happen all the time. I used to have I had this, I'm not gonna expose them, but I had a brethren who, you know, bought a high-end whip. You see what I'm saying? And he was starting it for a bit, but couldn't maintain it. Because even though you have the whip, every time I walk in your car, your gas tank is on quarter. Because you can't afford to bring it up any higher than that. You see every light on, check engine light. Every single light on, coming like a Christmas tree. Dash light up. So guess what? Over time, had to get rid of that and downgrade back to what you can afford and what you can maintain. You know, like. And stop being so red-eyed, guy. Just live life within your means, guy. Be happy.
But there's a social pressure that everyone's facing, you know? Especially when you come from communities like this. You wanna be the baller. You don't wanna look like, you know, you're really in poverty and you can't afford things. You wanna look like you're up there.
Sure.
You know?
And I
blend in.
And I hear that, but yo, honestly, it pays a lot more to just not play any games. Because sure, that's what it seems like, but even if you roll back into this community with your Benz and you live next door to someone who owns a Civic, who are you fooling? You understand? Sure, you have a whip, but yo, the living standard is the exact same.
Just peel off that little parking Toronto Housing sticker that you got on there, and then you can blend it. I used to go like to the Raptors games and stuff, and then you see all these big luxury vehicles parked up, and then you see like the Toronto Housing sticker. It's like, oh man,
you got found out.
You gotta peel that off.
That is hilarious. Trust me, guys.
Real recognize real.
Straight up. I mean, that's what it is. My God, that is hilarious.
Yeah, let's get out of here, man. It was nice meeting with you.
Yes, sir.
Blessings, man.
Yeah, man.